Hello everybody and welcome to the first video in real life media and the first time I've really spoken in front of a camera, because usually when there's a camera it's just no comment, but that was my previous life. Moving forward, I'm going to try and help as much people as I can. So what is the channel about? The channel's going to be a bit about my life, council situations, all the private houses and how the council estates are all getting run down. They've neglected Sturton for the early 90s. They can't say otherwise. That's just a fact. So, a bit about UK politics. In my opinion, totally impartial, because if you've got Labour, Tories, SNP, makes no difference. They all do the same thing. They all talk the same pish. Nothing changes. Taxes go up, that's usually about it. You understand that living in this cost of living crisis, but is a crisis, but they've got all these millions and millions and millions to send all over the world. Just think of the UK government leaving their people in Sudan. Now, to the best of my knowledge, all the European countries, everybody else, had their people out days before. I think the UK was 3 days later before they started. And they're not saying how many UK nationals they've managed to bring to Britain. They're saying whatever number it is. So how many of these people, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way or in a bad way, but how many of these people are actually not UK citizens? Who knows, they'll never tell us. The migrant situation, I'm all for. I've got colour in my skin. At some point, one of my ancestors came from Barbados. They must have been a migrant, but they never came in a dinghy. That's the difference. It's illegal migrants. Now, surely the UK government has prison ships, so as soon as they enter UK waters, get them on the prison ship, take them to the airport, take them to Rwanda, and then let them process them. People are not coming to Britain and spending money this summer because you cannot book a hotel. They're all full of illegal migrants. We as a country should bring in migrants, I totally agree, but it should be welders, joiners, electricians, nurses, doctors, and so on and so on. No people who are coming through umpteen safe countries and then risking their lives in a wee silly rubber dinghy. It's all back to front. It's been going on for years, but it's starting to get, it's at breaking point now, and the government only ever act when things get to breaking point. So, excuse me, a bit carried away there. Talk about the private houses that are sometime in the future soon are going to be getting built in Sturton. We're going to be talking about how the doctor surgeries needs expanded, needs more doctors, how the schools are overflowed. There's people in Sturton who have to take one child to Laneshaw Primary School and another child to Nether Robleton Primary School because there's not enough room. So when the council are agreeing all these planning applications for 300 houses here, 300 houses there, blah blah blah, they need to sit round the table with the NHS, the Education Secretary, whoever. Well, that was Hamza, so I'm not going to say any more about that. That will get me started. Got to speak about how Sturton's been neglected, the council schemes for the early 90s. By being neglected, I mean things like The roofs haven't been cleaned, the gutters haven't been cleaned, the gutters haven't been painted, the downpipes haven't been painted, all the rough castwits fell off, and they've just put a wee bit of mortar over the top. That's how houses are getting dampness. And you'll know yourself, if you're in a council house and you get dampness, they'll come out and they'll plaster all the dampness. That's their answer to everything. Put a plaster on it. We'll be talking about UK politics, obviously, because there's that much to talk about. It's actually going to be quite good fun, I think. Some of it'll be tongue in cheek. It's got to be a laugh. So, if you want to hear the council spending a lot of money up in Cumnock, I wonder why. How come they don't spend some in Stewarton? So, for example, if the council put in a bit of effort, I reckon the tenants would take more care of their hedges, their grass, take a bit more pride in their houses. But if they're falling to bits, nobody's going to take pride in their council house, and that's just a fact. You go into any of the council schemes, you can see they're run down, you can see they've been neglected. They've covered umpteen houses in that stupid foam, which they say isn't flammable, but my mate took a bit in front of the guy and set it flying up like a rocket. But the guy says, aye, but once we mortar there, it's no flammable. So, like I say, that's their answer to everything. A wee bit of mortar, a wee bit of plaster. I mean, for example, if you spent a bit of money in Stewarton, hire local people for Stewarton, somebody like a roofer, a scaffolder, a painter, and then get 5 or 6 local young kids from Stewarton to work with them and learn a trade, because there's a shortage in trade, and I wonder why. Because nobody really cares. Everything was EU. Now we get stuff for you see the size of the tomatoes EU send us. I've seen bigger strawberries. It's crazy. And this one really irritates me. How can there be food banks in this day and age when there is fields that are empty? Fields are empty, not growing any food. Where I stay, Stewarton, if the farms were up and running all round about Stewarton could be quite easily self-sufficient. It would just take nobody SNP, they've not got any money. It would just need to take the UK government to start investing in farms, get them fixed up, get them back up and running. Let's start getting our own food, our own meat, our own milk, our own vegetables, everything. There's no reason how it can't be done, and it'll work out a lot cheaper in the long run. So, talking a bit about that, we're talking about the pothole repairs. You know, how they just pour a wee bit of tar in it and roll it with the roller a couple of times. I think it takes 3 or 4 of them to do this. And then 2 days later, the tar's out the hole and it's back to being a pothole. So I'll be getting into detail on how you really should fix a pothole. And here's another thing. Now, the Void property managers working for East Ayrshire Council, they'll come out to properties and they'll say, it needs a bit of work there in the ceiling, bit of dampness there, needing a wee plaster there, it just so nobody knows, a wee skirting board there. Now, why are they not coming out and saying, and the housing officers as well, the roof needs cleaned, the building needs painted, the downpipes need painted? Whose responsibility is it? Is it the Void property managers who are incompetent, or have they been told no to point these things out? Only time will tell. Thank you. What else were we talking about? Oh, if you think the roads are bad, oh dear. Dear. Try driving round Sturton on a mobility scooter. You're dicing with death. The pavements are 10 times worse than the roads. And it's alright laughing, I fall off my mobility scooter. Nah, it's shocking, it's ridiculous. Sturton has been, now, I would love to be able to fight for the whole of East Ayrshire, but at the moment, I'm going to focus on Sturton, and then I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on, and anybody that knows me knows I am relentless once I've got something in my mind. So, I'm now registered and a member of the International Association of Press and Photography. So, I'm a volunteer freelance journalist. I've got health issues, so it's if and when I can. If I've got energy that day, I'll do it. If I'm having a bad day, I'll just rest until I'm feeling better and then get back on the case. What else did I put? Government leaving our people in Sudan. How is that even possible in this day and age? And I'm going to get into the Sudan crisis a bit deeper, in Ukraine and Russia, because it's all linked for the research I've done, but it's only my opinion, so I will get into that. I'll be getting into the camper van party, the SNP, and the Tories down south. I mean, you've got a Prime Minister who can't even sit still during an interview with a big smile on his face, so happy, so while people are starving, going to food banks, working 60 hours a week just to put food on the table, no more, no less. That's all they're managing to do, and he's bouncing about with a big smile on his face. I don't think that's what people want to see. People want to see action, people want to see results. And you watch all the idiots in the House of Commons, see all this, yay, boo, ah. They're a bunch of big Jessies, a lot of them. That needs to stop. How can they not just be like adults and sit there quietly until it's their time to speak? No hand and booing because the public don't want to see it at the moment. We're sick, fed up. They've been treated like fools, and everybody needs to wake up and remember we voted them in, we can vote them out. That's the important thing. So back to the camper van party. Hamza Yusuf, he was Education Secretary, ruined education. He was the Health Secretary, ruined the NHS. Before him, it was already cutbacks, but the ball stops at his foot. He ruined it. He never improved it. It got a lot worse. And see when he talks about, I've got 300 more doctors and these so many nurses. It's bending the truth, because what he's not telling you is that the population's increased. So these extra doctors, the extra nurses, it's not enough. I was recently in hospital and the charge nurse was looking for, get this right, 94 beds. That was in Cross House. She was looking for 94 beds, phoning everywhere, trying to find 94 beds. She was having to get nurses for their wards to come down to the assessment suite and help there. It's went nuts. It's went too far. That's all I'll say at the moment in that matter. Hamza, he'll need a miracle to last. the test of time, because he's going to waste millions, don't know how many million, but it's going to be a lot of millions, taking the UK court, the UK government back to court with this gender bill. Now, it's already been rejected. They're a devolved government, they have limited powers. If Hamza keeps going on the way he's going on, that place up there will shut and it'll be home rule. And it's their own fault. People would rather like to see the millions being spent on the NHS, on the elderly, and the poverty. Scotland became a laughing stock of the world, and that was all because Nicola had blinkers on. It was all about independence. Independence, independence. If we get independence, everything will be better. If we get independence, everything will be better. It's the Tories' fault, it's the Tories' fault. What about during that whole lockdown when people were in furlough? Where did that money come from? It didn't come from the SNP. It came from the UK government. So if we were independent and if we were still in Europe, there would have been no furlough. None whatsoever. And whether you agree with vaccines, you disagree, I think they're only helpful to the elderly. But whether you agree, you don't agree, we wouldn't have got the vaccine rollout so quick. So, very good, Nicola. She was wanting her claim to fame to be the woman who got independence. Now, her claim to fame is she's ruined the SNP. She shouldn't be in the back benches. She should be in the back of a G4 security van on her way to Cortonvale. And let's see how she would feel in the showers when a guy with a wig come in. Because, and I'm no anti-trans, when I was in Castle Huntly, there was a guy, I'm not going to say his name, he was going through it, he went to Northside, he come back down to Castle Huntly, he was in a wee side room, everybody's laughing, sniggering, joking. I went in and shook, well, I made a mistake, I said his name, but he changed his name to a girl's name. But I was the only person who went into the wee side room and shook her hand. I'm no anti-trans, I'm no anti-anything. If you've still got your meat and two veg, you should not be in anywhere where women are naked or they feel vulnerable. That's just my opinion. I'm trying my best to be impartial here, but there needs to be a line drawn where, right, we accept what's going on, we understand it. These people need years of therapy. They need years of counselling to know what's in front of them, how they're going to deal with it, what medications they're going to be getting. It can't be done overnight. It's a long, long process. And I would say, if you're a grown adult and you've made that decision, fine, but you shouldn't be able to just identify as a woman. I don't know what the SNP limit is going to be, but I think it should take 2-3, my opinion, and it's my opinion only, it should take 2-3 year process, seeing counsellors, all the rest of it, so the people turning from male to female or female to male, it gives them a chance to go to therapy. It lets them know better what's in front of them, what medication they're going to be getting, what effect it will have on them, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But they shouldn't have been anywhere where a woman is naked, or a woman is feeling vulnerable, or a woman's toilet. Same with women who want to be a man. I don't know. The country's went and do wally. That's my, and that's been impartial as I can be. It's went do wally. I'm going to try my very, very best to highlight problems in the NHS, because this is really what's happening. And an ambulance driver told me this, a paramedic. In Ayrshire, there is 14 ambulances, and there's usually 8 parked up at Cross House all day with patients in the back. Patients in an ambulance for 10 hours, 12 hours, and it's not even accident emergency anymore, it's just called the emergency department. So I don't know if that means if you've had an accident you're not allowed to go. Don't know who changed the name, probably Hamza. Needs to change everything, including his attitude. And I'll tell you why. See, when he done his speech, his First Minister's first speech, and he stood up and he said, my Attorney General's right, my this is right, my that is right, my this, my this, my this, blah, blah, blah. Flip that. How would it have went down if Douglas Murray or any other white person up there became the First Minister and stood up and says, my Attorney General's a Muslim, this person's a Muslim, that person's a Muslim? It would not have went down very good. So I don't know why it just shouldn't be allowed for either side. In this day and age, it shouldn't matter what colour your skin is. What matters is you do the job properly. You get everything done, you do your job properly. Who cares what colour you're in this day and age? No, but we get past that in the 80s. My father went through it in the 60s. I went through it in the 80s. It's went away. Don't highlight silly things like that in your first speech, because you already look silly enough. And so don't think I'm having a dig just at the SNP. The Tories are useless down south. The whole government down south, it's a big laughing game to them. And while I'm on again about these idiots, now I'm all for